Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the latest edition of Inside AWAI, Real Copywriters, Real Strategies, Having Real Success. And I'm thrilled to introduce you to our special guest today, Claudia Cesarotti. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Katie. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad you're here. I love your story. So I can't wait for our folks to hear it. So let's just jump in by tell us, what are you doing now?
So right now I am the marketing specialist at NASC, and that is the National Animal Supplement Council. And obviously that's in the pet industry. It is a nonprofit trade association that helps pet industry companies, whether they have a finished product like a health supplement, or whether they supply raw materials or manufacture those health supplements. We help them, just have the right labeling. We help them have the right, ingredients, and that makes sure that the doses or however you give the animal the supplement is correct and the dosage is always the same. So it's really exciting work. I really enjoy it. The people are lovely. The companies we work with are wonderful.
And you're really helping animals. You're helping people take care of their animals in the best possible way. Yes, how did this job come about? Now, I know your background, so why don't you share people your background? And then how did this particular job come about?
So I owned a pet grooming business for over 30 years. And I taught myself how to groom when I had my first puppy. It was a Cocker Spaniel way back when. I thought, wouldn't that be a fun thing to do? So that's how that happened. And then, so I actually closed my shop almost 2 years ago, and I was just, looking for a job. I saw this position on LinkedIn. It was actually for a different position. It was actually for a compliance specialist, which is a very important position at NASC because they help the companies, be compliant with, again, labeling and that kind of thing.
Right.
So the gentleman that is the president of this trade association, I was a LinkedIn connection with, and, we had, messaged a few times, nothing about a job. And then this popped up on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh my God, I would love to work for this company. And but I applied for the compliance specialist, which I was not a fit for because it's very, you got to really know about agriculture, and, there's a lot of background that I didn't have. But they loved my resume because I had all the courses I had taken from AWAI on there, and they hired me as the marketing specialist, even though that was not the job that I was applying for.
And you use the term upskilling, which I love. And so what does that mean to you?
So all the skills that I have learned that I've, mostly through AWAI, I have learned now to use them in this job. And I mean, it's like so many different, I'll use the email lessons that I've learned. I use the social media lessons that I've learned. I write blogs for this. I write blogs for the company and, post them. And then all the kind of website stuff that I get to do now. I managed the CRM, the HubSpot, we use HubSpot as our CRM. So I manage that. And it's just all these things that, I've just been able to come together and learn. It's just so much fun.
So I love that. So you're learning on the job. Sounds like you're saying yes to everything that comes your way. And absolutely. Okay, even if you don't know how to do it, I'll figure it out.
Absolutely. And, I think most companies and most clients that people have, they see something in you that you already know how to do that they need. But then when they say to you, oh, well, how about this, or that? And of course you say, yes, because, you can always learn how to do it. I know there was a big thing about AI that I was watching the other day with the panel. And I mean, that is so helpful. Sometimes I'll just be like, what do I do in HubSpot when I have to do this? And it tells me, And I'm like,
Right.
okay. I don't know how I found out. But the thing is, I don't have to go to somebody and say, how do I do this? What do I do? So I'm able to, be valuable to them.
Right. And that's what it is. It's thinking about how you can add value to the specific situation, or how can I help further the company's goals? So I love that. So I do want to ask how you got your very first job. How'd you go from pet groomer to, what was that first step after you decided, yes, you want to be a writer?
So about 10 years ago, when I discovered AWAI, I kind of was at the point where I was thinking that, okay, I've been doing this for over 20 years now. This is not a job you can actually do forever,
Right.
physically. And I thought, all right, I need to figure out kind of my next step, or, my third act or my second act, or whatever you want to call it. But so I thought this would be, and of course I love the whole concept of the writer's life and being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And actually it's something you enjoy.
Yes.
And so I just thought, I'm going to see what I can learn and then how I'm going to apply this to pet industry companies. So I was able to, I've written for a couple of pet industry insurance companies, pet insurance companies. I wrote for a dog food company. I wrote a couple articles for Dogster.
Okay.
Which is,
And so did you just send them ideas? Did you, what was the actual step that you took to get those first jobs?
I think what I ended up doing is I made the connection on LinkedIn. The one pet industry, the one pet insurance company, I was a connection on LinkedIn for the CEO. And Perfect. I just, we just kind of had a little bit of a conversation. I said, hey, if you ever need, this or that.
That's how it's done. I love that. I love that, Claudia. And I do just want to pause on it. I mean, you didn't know the CEO, you didn't, but LinkedIn allows you to make that connection and just send off a little note. And hey, I'm here to help if I have this experience. I love that. And that's a huge takeaway for everybody listening today. So no matter where you are in your career, your experience gives you some kind of connection with somebody that could potentially be your first or your next hire.
Right. And, it is a numbers game. So you're not always going to connect on the first time. You just got to keep plugging away. And, even if you only do, 3 or 5 a day, it's definitely worth the time, whatever that 10 or 15 minutes it is. And Absolutely. I used to set myself a little alarm, to remind myself to, oh, wait, I should do this. I want to keep this going. So
I love that.
Yes. It helps me.
So smart. And it's your job. That's your job. That's what part of your job, and just do it. Claudia, that's fantastic. Now you mentioned some of the types of projects that you work on in your current role. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what's a typical day look at the organization, at the association?
So I usually start my day with any HubSpot inquiries that have come in overnight. And we get a ton of them, and they're not always for people that are applying to be a primary supplier or a preferred supplier. It could be a retailer. It could actually even be a pet owner. Retailers and pet owners, I believe, they can join for free, and you can get their, whatever communications we send out. Now, the preferred supplier and the our companies, and obviously they pay dues for a membership. But so I start out with the HubSpot inquiries and make sure that, we want to make sure that all of our members are taken care of. We want to make sure we're doing a lot of good customer service and engaging. Yeah. And then it depends on the day. Today I'll be editing some blogs that I've already written. So I'm usually at least 2 or 3 weeks ahead.
Good.
So because we post one every week now. We used to do it about once a month, but now I've been doing it about once a week. So I'll do that. And then I actually have our social media that is run through the HubSpot CRM. I can schedule those out ahead. And then any emails that we send out to our members, we just want to make sure we keep up on them. I also
write those emails, or do you just coordinate it?
I write them. It depends on what the email is, but I'll write them. Sometimes it's an answer to a question. We actually, anytime we get a HubSpot inquiry for an application, we will send out an email, kind of directing them to the right person to talk to.
Great.
And then I also have been, so I also learned how to use Excel.
Great. You're always learning, Claudia. I love it.
So that was like a new thing to do. So I've been helping with these preferred supplier spreadsheet, just updating it, making sure it has all the current information, helping the put the profiles of the companies on our website. So there is a lot of website work, which I'm really enjoying. It's WordPress, and it's easier than you think. Do not let it scare you. And, so just kind of whatever comes around, I'm happy to learn.
I love it. The theme here, like that I'm hearing, is help, learn, grow, say yes. This is all fantastic. What's been a exciting recent win that you'd like to share with everybody?
I think just the fact that, about 2 weeks ago, I went to do some in-person training with the gal that I work with, and she was very gracious, and she just kind of turned over a bunch of things to me that she used to do, that now she's able to have a little breathing room to do the things that she wants to, not that she doesn't want to do them, but that she needs to do also. But it was just, so much of the day-to-day was keeping her from doing what she, the other things that she needed to do.
that to-do list. I know it well.
Right. So she was, very gracious, and kind of has now allowed me to take over some of this stuff, which I'm very happy to do, and I'm grateful to do it. And so she just said to me yesterday, she goes, "It's just so nice to have some breathing room." And I'm like, yay!
What a gift. What a gift. Yes. And again, helping, learning, saying yes.
Right.
I love it.
And don't be afraid. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken, and I just, you got to learn. It's okay. It's okay to keep learning, and it's okay that you don't know everything right away. I struggled with that too. I feel like I'm just like, if I don't know exactly what to do at the exact minute I need to know it, then forget it. I just, but no, that's not how it works.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you, my next question was, what advice do you have for your fellow writers? But I think that's it in a nutshell. Is there anything else?
Just keep learning. Actually, yes, do what speaks to you. When I took classes, especially courses from AWAI, I took the content marketing, the SEO, Pam, the site audits, just the stuff that seemed very interesting to me. One of the things that I did take that I didn't really finish was white papers. And it's not that I didn't like it. It just wasn't like what I was wanting to do.
And that's so smart too.
With what I do. Right.
Exactly. Right. You learn a little bit about, not everything is for everybody. Not everybody has to know everything. That's the perfect example of, you found your lane, you found what excites you, and that's where you moved on. But you were open to other things. I think that's fabulous advice. Well, cool. Okay, so my last question is, what's something you're currently really excited about, either inside your career or outside, just in your life right now?
I am just so happy to be working at home. It just allows me to have the, some freedoms that I really didn't have before, especially when I have my business. I can, even though I have work hours during the day, as long as I get my work
it's
done,
a job.
It is a job. Yes. So I mean, that is my responsibility for the day. But just being able to, do my workouts and do some cooking and, just all the stuff that this is like a truly writer's life for me, even though I do have a job. It's not like, But I can still fit it around that, and it still feels really good.
I love it. And thank you so much for sharing. I'm inspired. I'm going to go learn something. I'm going to go say yes to something. Oh, and Pam Foster is saying, as a fellow pet copywriter, she's so excited to hear about your new gig.
Thank you, Pam.
Everybody, I'm sure you're going to be getting lots of good wishes and yay, go girls, and all the things right now, because you're making us proud, and I'm so happy to celebrate your success.
Thank you. This was so nice of you to ask me. I really appreciate you letting me be here.
Okay. Bye, everybody.